Hello everyone, it's I, Wacky Anime What If here to present you with What If Deku Had the SCP System, Chapter 1. The what if starts with a 14-year-old Izuku Midoriya, being beaten up and bloodied, left in an alleyway with burn marks on his arms and chest, along with what he assumed is a broken rib, and all of this was caused by his own best friend, Bakugo, who was staring him down, looking at Izuku, seeing him cough up blood. Bakugo decides to smirk, and then says, "You're a useless loser, Deku, and no matter how hard you try, you can't be a hero. As unlike everyone else, you have nothing that makes you special. You are just useless trash. Hell, I bet even your own mother doesn't even love you. She just pretends." Bakugo smirks after saying this, even more so. As his grin gets wider, he sees Izuku get up off the ground with rage in his eyes like never before as he stares Bakugo down and screams, "Don't you talk about my mother!" Izuku then charges at Bakugo, but all Bakugo does is merely punch Izuku before he could land a hit. With a right hook, Bakugo also lets off a little explosion with his quirk to make his right hook stronger. Upon impact, right as it connects to Izuku's chest, it sends Izuku flying all the way to the back of the alleyway. Izuku feels the back of his head hit the front of the metal dumpster. With so much force, Izuku felt something start to crack. Izuku notices he feels blood flowing from out of the back of his head slowly. He feels a pain like no other, as Izuku felt cold, feeling his blood pour out of his head slowly. He slid down the dumpster to the ground, staring at the puddle of his own blood that flows out of the back of his head. He notices in the reflection of his blood, he could see Bakugo staring at him as Izuku tries to speak, to utter any words for help. He notices he can't. He notices he can't even speak anymore. He can't even move. He feels so scared and starts to tremble slightly. Bakugo was just staring at Izuku, seeing Izuku isn't moving, and his eyes are losing color fast. He thinks of taking Izuku to a hospital or calling for help, but then Bakugo immediately thinks of his own future. If he takes Izuku to the hospital, Bakugo wouldn't be able to be a pro hero, as he would be blacklisted and charged for attempted murder and illegal use of his quirk and assault on top of that. So Bakugo decided to just run away. Although he did glance one time back at Izuku before doing so, only to see Izuku staring at him with a face that held betrayal in it. As Bakugo, not being able to see that face any longer, looks away as he runs out of the alleyway. Izuku, seeing his best friend run off, leaving him to die and bleed out in a dark alleyway, starts to cry and feel hatred as he trusted him, even though he always bullied him and beat him up. He always saw him as a friend. He just thought he was misguided and just let the arrogance get to his head. But as Izuku's vision starts to blur, he feels his life flashing before his eyes as he thinks back to his mother. He doesn't want to leave her alone. Izuku decides in a desperate attempt to pray for anyone to help him, be it God, be it the devil, or anyone else. But he notices no help has arrived. As he was about to die, he saw in his blurring vision a red floating screen that has big bold words at the top saying SCP System. Izuku sees a prompt. It says if he wants to live, he must press accept. Then it will restore his body. As Izuku couldn't read anything else as his vision was too blurry to, Izuku only needed to see the words live and the timer that was counting down to a few seconds before his own death. Izuku mustered up as much strength as he possibly could to press the accept button. He then felt himself lose consciousness. As the red screen vanished, he was healing at a slow rate and was also given a beginner package by the system, but he would only find out More about this later on, as SCP System put Izuku into a comatose state to slowly upgrade his body and heal it. Time skip 3 months later. As Izuku wakes up and sees he is in a hospital bed, he also notices a nurse shocked to see him awake as she was changing his IV. She says, "Sir, don't panic. You've been unconscious for 3 months and your body has undergone a massive change because of your quirk." Izuku thinks, "I don't have a quirk. What is this nurse talking about?" Then he remembers the red screen he pressed accept on. He quickly figures it must be something involving that. He asks the nurse to hand him a mirror. As she does, he notices his body is more toned, and he has a six-pack and well-trained muscles. He notices his hair is now black and his eyes are darker. Izuku notices something off after examining his new appearance. He notices only the nurse was in his hospital room. He asks where his mother is. The nurse looks at him with a very sad face and says, "I'm sorry for your loss, but 1 month ago the doctor declared you would never wake up. As he saw no progress in your recovery, he declared you would be stuck in a coma for the rest of your life, and your mother hanged herself." In her note, in her suicide note, she said she didn't want to be in a world without her baby boy. She misses him too much. Izuku, hearing this, feels something drip down his cheek. He puts his hand to his face, noticing it's his tears. He puts his hands on his face even more so, and starts to scream in pain as he mentally breaks down in front of the nurse. She tries to comfort him, but they had to sedate him to get him to calm down as he was starting to lash out. 1 week later, when Izuku was released from the hospital after extensive tests, he went back home. Upon entering his home, he said instinctively, "I'm home, Mom." Expecting to hear a response, but hearing no response, Izuku remembers his mother isn't with him anymore. He sees the red screen from 3 months ago pop up in front of his face. He immediately remembers the screen was what put him into the coma. As the text on the screen displays, "Would you like to know what you gained from the beginner package?" Izuku immediately says yes, as he needed a distraction desperately from the pain he was feeling right now. Izuku stares at the red screen as it informs him of what his beginner package contained: an upgraded body and a quick learning skill that allows him to process things twice as fast as normal humans. Izuku also sees the beginner package comes with a SCP Foundation facility base under his house. The system informs him he can access it by a button in his closet that turns his closet into an elevator leading down to the base, as it's underground. The system also informs him that he has an SCP Foundation scientists, researchers, and a SCP Foundation MTF unit, codenamed the Operative Unit. Izuku immediately notices they come equipped with machine guns of various types, body armor, and a few rocket launchers. As Izuku reads more in their description, it says they are highly trained, but Izuku notices on the system it shows he got the weakest unit. But he starts to focus more on a pop-up that appears from the system, as a quest shows up for him saying he needs to catch SCP-999 with any means necessary. The system says that Izuku gets quests each day to capture 1 or 2 SCP that spawn in the world in the same city radius, except a certain few which may spawn in different locations and may be harder to catch, even with the system's help. The SCP system also says that the classes that spawn are absolutely random, and Izuku gains more rewards from capturing SCP that amass infamy before being captured, or cause massive destruction. Izuku asked, "What is SCP-999? The SCP system shows Izuku an image of SCP-999 As Izuku sees an adorable slime that's small and has some cookie crumbs on its face, he starts to laugh a little bit, absolutely not expecting it. He expected something fucking horrifying to appear. But as he sees that it was just labeled safe class, he thinks, I'm curious what powers and abilities it might have. The system goes ahead and informs him of this and says SCP-999 has the ability to make anyone in its presence happy by transferring its mad voices into their heads. It can even cure mental disorders like depression and PTSD, and can pacify serial killers. When Izuku reads more of the information, he reads SCP-999's effects even made SCP-682 break down laughing when it touched him. Izuku curiously asks the SCP system, what the fuck is SCP-682? The system shows Izuku an image of SCP-682, and immediately Izuku screams, what in the fuck is that? You don't expect me to have to capture it, do you? Izuku sees it over 10 feet high at the shoulders and 30 feet in length and has reptile features and looks more like a lizard, but its face is a fucking skull with no skin. It was absolutely horrifying to Izuku to see. But he notices the system only showed him the image and no real other information. And the SCP system says that's because Izuku is not hunting it, currently, as it doesn't exist in his world yet. The system merely says, in the event it spawns into your world, you would have to capture it. But don't worry, the more dangerous the quest and the more infamy the SCP has in your world, the more equipment you get to deal with it, and more rewards for finally capturing it. Izuku looks at the system thinking, the fuck did I get myself into? Izuku decides that before he tracks down SCP-999 or visit the SCP facility which was built under his fucking house, that he would go to his mother's grave as he is still mourning. As Izuku walks to his mother's grave, he has flashbacks of when she was the only one who believed in him, where she never abandoned him. Izuku notices it begins to rain as he gets closer to the graveyard and enters. He sees his mother's grave and starts to cry. And as Izuku is crying, he notices Bakugo is near his mother's grave, and immediately he runs up to Bakugo, punches him in the right side of the face, and starts to scream, it's your fault! Because of you, I will never see my mother again. Because of you, I'm all alone now. Why did you do it? Bakugo spits out blood. As Bakugo looks at Izuku and sees he is crying, Bakugo starts to recognize him, even though his changes were massive, and says, is that you, Izuku? I'm so sorry. Izuku punches Bakugo again in the face, over and over, not letting him finish his next word. Izuku says, all you had to do was call for help. All you had to do was leave me alone. As Bakugo's blood gets on Izuku's hands, and the rain pours, washing the blood from his hands, Izuku punches Bakugo one more time, as Bakugo falls to the ground, barely conscious. Bakugo's last thing he saw before going completely unconscious was Izuku crying and on the ground at his mother's grave, breaking down. After that, Bakugo's vision went dark. This is where the what if ends. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to stay updated on future chapters. And if you didn't like Chapter 1, you might like Chapter 2. Don't judge it because of the first part. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you all enjoyed it. See you all next time.